Brought to you on the You Run Podcast Network.
Tired of screaming alone? The last horror podcast you'll ever need to listen to. The Horror Nerd Experience. Join your host, LK the Horror Nerd, and Yanni the Hamburger, as they discuss all things horror. Thrills, screams, and enough jump scares to leave you looking like that kid from The Ring in the closet. So listen to the Horror Nerd Experience, another podcast brought to you by You Run Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast.
I'm not going to stand in the way of love. I'm not Billy Zane.
That's right. Never once in my life was like, you know what? I have to shit on that toilet paper dispenser.
I want to put my butt on the pizza.
Yeah.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the You Gotta Eat That Crust podcast. I'm your host with the most on the ones and twos. You know they call me Shed Lasso. You know they call me Shed Theodore Logan. You know they call me Fatback Supreme. It's your boy, Fatback Supreme, Ryan Wilson. Also with me tonight, the razor blade himself, the Moose of Connecticut, the Moose Turd Smuggler, ladies and gentlemen, Seamus Rogers. Seamus, so good to hear your voice. What's going
What up,
on?
man? Everyone sounds good today. We got the sound check tight.
Also with us tonight, follically challenged himself, the sweatpants overlord, the sexiest varicose veins in all of New England. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Hoey. Greg, what's good?
What's up, everybody? I just want to say I don't want to do this podcast anymore. I quit.
It's not funny.
Yes, especially since right now, nobody knows what you're talking about.
I just got my mic dialed up, too. Fuck.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I'm putting my 2-week notice.
I guess if they read the topic, they play the episode. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, with Greg quiet quitting right now, the podcast anyway,
Bye.
it is concerning.
So you can edit all that shit in before that, and then you just have us say that.
It's a good segue to what we're doing today.
Which is what, Seamus? What is it we're doing here today?
Hey there, disgruntled humans. Welcome back to the You Can Eat That Crust podcast, the comedy podcast where we are celebrating the wildest and wackiest ways people have flipped their bosses the bird and pieced out of the 9-to-5 grind. We're diving into the uproarious world of epic job quitting stories that'll leave you laughing so hard you'll want to check out all our episodes. Except for the early ones. Don't listen to those. We've got the tale of Patty Pepperoni, the woman who threw a farewell pizza party with a twist. Instead of a pepperoni and cheese, she ordered custom pizzas with the words, "I quit," spelled out in toppings. When her boss opened the pizza boxes, it was a delicious goodbye that nobody saw coming.
Pineapple.
And let's not forget the IT guy who turned his resignation into a stand-up comedy routine. He booked a conference room, invited his coworkers, and proceeded to roast his job, his boss, and the company in a 10-minute set that left everyone in stitches. He dropped the mic and walked out, leaving behind a legacy of laughter. So buckle up, folks, and get ready for a roller coaster ride of side-splitting stories that'll make you want to quit your job just for the hilarious exit strategy.
Fuck your plans. Fuck your future plans.
I'm not much of a job quitter, to be honest. I'm like one of those hang-oners forever.
Right? Gotta leave.
No matter how bad the situation is, I'm like, nah, I gotta stay.
I mean, I've had to leave to better my career a few times, but sometimes I stay too long. For sure.
I once told my boss off in Greek. Agamishu reku phala, bitch.
How long did you have to practice that, Greg?
Not long. My roommate Jesse at the time had a Greek girlfriend, and we were just talking about how sexist this lady was, and she was a piece of shit. And she's like, "You should tell her off in Greek." And she gave me like something that said, "Fuck you, loose, disgusting whore." And I said it to her and her friends right in front of everybody in the full store.
Did you ever fact check that?
I did not.
I realize that she was telling you something completely different. Like,
yeah,
I want to put my butt on the pizza today.
Yeah. I have a small dick.
Yeah. I have a small dick and I want to show you.
Well, you're fired now.
I only had you here because I thought you had a medium-sized dick.
Well, it must have worked because she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah.
I've only really legendarily quit one job, and it's because first off, I should have been the manager there because I had years of managing experience at convenience stores, but they gave it to this girl who was like had her kid taken away because of meth, but the boss thought she was like super cute, so he had her to be the manager instead, and she stopped showing up to work, and he kept getting more and more pissed off and taking it out on me, and one day, him and his wife had worked there for like 20 years. Still work there to this day.
Well, there's hope for her, because if he still thought she was attractive, she couldn't have been doing meth for long.
Yeah, what a meth.
Well, it's a good way to lose weight.
Yeah, those are the people where our stickers on their parking spot, right? I think you talked about these people before, right? When he would like always like, yeah, I got something for you to do, Ryan, like all sarcastically.
Yeah, well, that's basically what happened. He left a note for me. That's like his wife's like, Ryan, Mike left a note for you, and she handed me a note.
Her eyes were gleaming like.
Yeah. She was all pumped about it. She said, Ryan, go stalk the walk-in if you think you can handle that. Then I need you to go outside and change the gas prices if you're smart enough for that.
Wow.
And I looked at the note, and I looked at his giggling wife, and I took off my work shirt, which I had nothing on underneath, and I threw it in her face, said, fuck you, cunt, I quit. And she's like, no, fuck you.
Now you can do all those things.
You said, Agamishu Reiku Fala, I have a small dick.
Right? And you were probably the only two on, so now she's got to do all those tasks.
Yep. Sorry, Linda. Sorry.
The note backfired.
I mean, I hope anybody would quit being treated like that.
That's they never talk down to me. That's my, like, if there's one way to get me to walk out of any job, it's try to talk down to me. I also had a boss who, like, I was working at this restaurant, and I'm literally laying on my stomach underneath a dish machine, like scrubbing like fucking debris off the floor. And the head chef comes in, he's like, Ryan, Mike said he wants you to fucking get to work back here. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Wow, doing a dirty job.
Yeah, he's like, get to work. He's like, he can't see you on the camera, so he doesn't know what you're doing right now. And I was like, hold the fuck on. And I get out, I slide out from under the dish machine. And this guy is like fucking 6'4". And I walk up to him in the middle of the dining room, was like, you think I'm not fucking working? I was like, the one fucking thing I pride myself on is my work ethic, you piece of fucking shit. And I was like, you ever fucking talk to me like that again, I'll fucking leave right now. And he's like, Ryan, he's like, I appreciate you coming to me like this. He's like, maybe next time though, he's like, let's not do it in the dining room full of customers.
You think you're better than me?
Why did he send someone in to do his dirty work anyways?
Yeah, so he apologized.
How about you come in and look for your employee yourself?
Him and his wife would just get hammered at the bar like every single day.
Oh, so they're the ones people that own the place and they're there getting drunk with everybody all the time.
Yeah, real classy.
Ran a bar like that. It was annoying.
They need John Tapper to come in and straighten them out.
Well, they're not open anymore, so I think COVID straightened them out for us.
Oh, God damn it.
I mean, hopefully they're still alive.
Yeah.
Or not.
Whatever. They weren't good people. But let's not dwell on how terrible people are. Let's get to some epic job quitting stories. Seamus, you sound so amazing today. I want to start with you. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about Ron Blake of Phoenix, Arizona. He recalls quitting a job at a law firm in suburban Chicago. This is from him. He said, my frenetic job duties entailed running a variety of errands, depositing money at the bank, picking up lunch for the firm's meetings, buying office supplies, post office runs. After arriving at work one day, things clicked for Blake, and he realized that this job was jeopardizing his education and his future. In an instant, he decided to quit and made his rounds to say goodbye to his coworkers and friends. His colleagues continued on as if nothing had happened, sending him work, lunch orders, and files to be taken care of. Blake passed them on to the next person and quietly left. As for what happened next, Blake recalled, I arrived home several hours later after running some of my own personal errands. My voicemail was full. There were messages from several of my now former colleagues. They were concerned about where I was. It was lunchtime, and they were all waiting for me to arrive with their Italian beef sandwiches and onion rings. He called back to remind them that he had quit, but was puzzled when they all seemed to disbelieve him. In his rush to leave, Blake had forgotten one important thing. It was April Fool's Day.
Oh. So I'm not getting my chicken tenders?
All right, what a terrible job that I have to take everybody's lunch orders and shit. Like, how do you even move up in a company where you had to do all those menial tasks for people and like have any semblance of respect, right?
Well, I don't know. According to every TV show I've watched about a similar situations, that's where you have to start. And then next thing you know, you're the Kevin Spacey of the company.
I guess I get like having to start in, in the dredges and having to work your way up and prove yourself, but I don't know. I feel like you move up and you get your title and you have to like leave these people behind because you probably like hate half of them or have no respect for them. I don't know.
That's how Guillermo moved up in the last season of What We Do in the Shadows.
No, he had to take it. He had to take it into his own hands.
Yeah.
He went behind
Nandor.
Nandor's. What is his name?
Yeah, Nandor.
Isn't that the guy from Marvel?
That's Namor.
Namor. Thank you.
They dodge the squids.
All right. I worked for a privately owned bakery for exactly 1 week. The owner's son came in, walked past the counter, went into the bathroom. He came out a few minutes later without acknowledging me or my coworker, got into his car, and drove away. We both looked at each other. They opened the door to find that the guy had literally crapped all over the toilet seat, all over the toilet paper holder. I called the owner and said what happened, and she said, deal with it. So I asked my coworker if she wanted to clean it up because I wasn't going to. She declined and told her I was walking out. She did as well. We locked up the store and told the owner we quit, but would consider staying if her son came back to clean up his own mess. She yelled at us and berated us for 20 seconds before I said, goodbye, and hung up.
Clean up your grown boy's shit.
We don't need this shit.
Who are these people that do this? Never once in my life was like, you know what? I have to shit on that toilet paper dispenser.
I have nothing against these people, but let me go just shit all over this stuff and laugh about it later on when I'm thinking about them cleaning it up. What a piece of shit.
He's probably just, trying to prove his dominance by shitting on the...
Right, but yeah, he hasn't done anything. He has no responsibility. His parents own the business.
He's a nepo baby.
Nepo baby, yeah. What a loser.
Piece of shit. Most of us dream about quitting our jobs in the middle of a bad day. Steven Slater actually did. After dealing with an unruly passenger on a JetBlue flight, he grabbed the intercom, cursed out the entire plane, snagged 2 beers from the gallery, and dramatically deployed the emergency slide, exiting his career in literal style. He strolled away from the tarmac, never looking back. It was a mic drop moment with a built-in safety slide.
Yeah, except he got arrested later in the day.
Did he?
Yeah, he was initially charged with like criminal mischief, reckless endangerment, and criminal trespass. I think he ended up later pleading guilty to like a misdemeanor charge of like 4-3 criminal mischief or something.
Damn.
But he ended up having to go through like probation and underwent counseling, and I think he ended up having to pay it.
Just for fucking pulling the slide, the emergency slide?
Just so
because I think you can't just put it back in.
Yep.
It's kind of like an airbag, I think.
As he was sliding down, he was probably like, shit, I probably shouldn't have done that.
It's epic. I mean,
yeah, but he definitely looked cool for a couple minutes. Yeah,
he probably got opportunities out of this meeting.
Yeah, he looked at his coworker. He's like, "Hey, was that cool? Did that look cool?"
He now works for Slip and Slide.
I mean, it'd be great to get footage of that, especially if he's like chugging the beer as he's going down,
double
fucking flipping off the fucking thing.
He's walking away in slow motion. Everyone's like, "Why is he walking like that?"
Then he gets hit by a baggage cart driver.
And then he sues them.
Yeah, right. I don't know about that.
Circle of life.
If you make the decision to jump out like that, I think you.
You're
as he learned, he had to make up for shit. So this one, I was working as an assistant manager for a well-known retail chain. My husband was murdered, and I was injured in a home invasion robbery. We had been married for 25 years. We were supposed to be together for years to come. 8 days after the murder, we held a service for him. Just as the service was about to begin, my phone rang. The district manager wanted to know when I would be back to work. I explained we were at the service and that I would call him back later. He became very angry and he told me he saw no reason why I could not return to work after the service.
Jesus.
He was very rude and abrasive, so I simply said that I would be there. Later, I returned to work to throw his store keys at him and quit. What a jerk he was. By the way, the keys hit him and he threatened assault charges. When the cops arrived and heard the story, they were disgusted with him. The DM left and the 2 employees told the police that I had tossed the keys on the desk and they slid into him. No charges were filed and I never stepped foot in any of their stores again.
That sounds like my organic grower buddy Nate was working at GrowGen, or it was Green Life at the time. It might have been GrowGen, but he had
GrowGen. That's just real quick. GrowGen. That is the place where pros go to grow.
Thank you for choosing GrowGen, where the pros go to grow. This is Greg speaking. How can I help you? But yeah, he had just had twin babies, and like they were in like the ICU. They were like underweight. They were not doing very well, born premature. And Joe was just like, "Hey, when are you coming back to work?" He's like, "Dude, my kids are fucking dying in the hospital. Like, what the fuck are you doing?" I mean, his kids are all set now because they'll get rid of you. I gave my 3-week notice at my other job because I was like nervous and I wanted them to have the coverage. I gave them the notice and they basically like almost fired me the next day. Like, not fired me, but they like asked me to leave. I was like, "Oh, okay."
I hear about that a lot. It's just like petty and childish, and they end up probably just screwing themselves. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah, they were just trying to save money.
Yeah, in some cases, I guess. In some, it's just pettiness, I think.
I was like, I'll take the video game time. So, and I had a garden. I worked at my buddy's garden for a couple of weeks. So, that was fine.
And then they're like, "Oh, that's fine. I'll just apply for unemployment." And then you pay me not to be here.
Unemployment sucks. That shit takes forever.
They're going to do that to you, and you might as well send it back to them, even if it's for 2 weeks, whatever. Plus, it's a lot easier than it used to be, I hear.
All right, well.
Didn't you? We used to have to check in and write and show them where you were looking for jobs. Now,
every state is different how they handle that. Like Maine wasn't that bad because when I got fired from GrowGen for COVID reasons, they tried to like flip it on me and I flipped it back on them and I won the case. And so I did get rewarded unemployment. So I had unemployment, COVID checks, and I was growing at the time. So it was very financially beneficial to me.
I mean, how could it go back on you anyways? You had been there for over a year. You'd worked, you'd paid into it and given your 2-week notice, and then they just let you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was bullshit.
God, those COVID checks were glorious. I was making like the same exact amount I was at my job. So I'm just like, what a time to be alive. Except for anyone who would affect it negatively. Sorry about that, guys.
I was essential, so I didn't get to stay home and play my PlayStation.
You're always essential, Seamus. I've always said that about you.
Yeah,
I would have liked to. It would have been nice. I would have taken some online classes and shit.
I'm trying not to be essential, okay? I'm trying my best, but I'm just so essential.
Well, now that we're professional podcasters, we are essential, so...
That's true.
Y'all need us!
Here we go. I used to work at a chicken joint, and one day I accidentally threw away some tongs. By the time I realized it, I already bagged and thrown away the trash. My supervisor had a meltdown and said that tongs cost the restaurant like $80. So he demanded I go into the dumpster, open up every bag, and find them, or otherwise he'd write me up. It was midsummer and a day before trash pickup. I was up to my knees in trash bags. I lost my balance and accidentally punctured a bag, which caused gravy and sauce to explode on the side of my pants. I climbed out, handed him the tongs and my hat, and walked off, never to return again.
Man. Fucking tongs. Tongs don't cost $80.
And it costs about $15 tops, okay?
And that's probably like a pretty decent set of tongs.
Yeah.
Those are some magical tongs.
I've had to do similar, though. My first ever job, we had this waitress who threw away her brand new engagement ring on accident.
Hey.
So I went out there and I started digging through all the bags and shit, and I found that shit.
You're an unsung hero.
Goddamn right, man. Goddamn right.
Live TV is unpredictable, but no one saw this one coming. Charlo Green was reporting on a local story about Alaska's cannabis club when she casually revealed that she was, in fact, the owner. Then, without skipping a beat, she dropped the new iconic words, "Fuck it, I quit." No awkward exit interview, no 2-week notice, just a live, unfiltered resignation that sent shockwaves through the newsroom. Some reporters break news. Charlo broke her employment contract on air and then smoked a fat joint.
And how close are we to legalizing it in Alaska?
It's got to be pretty good. My friend Becky actually grows in Alaska. I don't know if she grows legally, but...
You just outed Becky.
I didn't say her last name. Like, oh, we only have one Becky in here.
Alaska's not a big place, Greg.
Alaska's not a big Becky place. That's true.
Well, it's a big place, but there's not a lot of people there.
There's this one police department, like they're trying to crack the case of the biggest weed dealer in town, and they only know her name's Becky.
You blew it,
sorry. Her name's Lecky.
I mean, if they already had her name as Becky, Anyway, this guy had apparently been the unsung hero of his office for years, quietly fixing printers, debugging ancient software, and saving coworkers from themselves. But when it came time to leave, he decided to channel his frustration and his surprisingly sharp comedic skills into one unforgettable performance. He reserved the biggest conference room under the pretense of giving a team training session. Once everyone was gathered, expecting some dry presentation on cybersecurity or software updates, he dimmed the lights, plugged in a mic, and stepped onto an improvised stage like a comedy pro. For the next 10 minutes, he delivered a brutal but hilarious roast of everything from the company's outdated tech. Our servers are so old, they probably remember AOL dial-up sounds. To his boss's micromanaging style. I was going to put that in the report, Steve, but I figured you'd already written it for me. The coworkers were crying with laughter. Even the boss was left half laughing, half squirming. The punchline? His resignation letter, which he read aloud as the grand finale. Effective immediately, I am upgrading my career to version 2.0. With that, he dropped the mic, walked out, and left the room, erupting in applause.
And he's now Kill Tony.
Oh,
Didn't he just get in trouble again?
Tony Hinchcliffe?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Wow.
He's a little shit. I'd love to smack the shit out of that kid.
He's hilarious, though. He is a shit, though, but he is hilarious. That kid.
I don't count him as an adult. My quitting story. My boss told me we were going to spend our breaks doing mandatory Zumba, and I told her I was going home. That's it.
That was a zoomy one.
Well, I mean, you guys ever do Zumba?
Wow.
Fuck that.
You want to do it at work?
Zoom meetings. I don't know if Zumba is that biking.
No, it's like a really fucking intense, like, cardio workout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cardio.
Fuck cardio. We're all headed towards fucking Wall-E anyway, where we just sit in the fucking chairs, float around.
Nutrients fed to us.
Yeah, dude. That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, we just live in virtual reality.
Their bones are too weak to move.
As long as we can network and co-op.
Yeah, well, we can still podcast as well. Think about it.
We'd still be able to interact. We're all connected.
We are. Hive mind.
I don't know about that. How do you tell any jokes like that?
However the hive allows you to.
I guess, like, the hive mind already knows the punchline, but, like, you have to laugh anyways.
Everyone laughs in unison.
Right. Yeah, that's so bizarre.
Hive, do you do that?
All right, Greg, go.
Some people email HR when they quit. Others opt for a meeting, but one nurse in Washington decided to bake her resignation into a cake, writing, "I quit" in thick black frosting. Imagine your boss finding out you're quitting while eating your farewell message. That's one way to soften the blow.
Hey.
The day I got hired at the call center, I told them my wedding was in 5 months and I would need the day off, and preferably the week after as well. I'd already paid $7,000 out of pocket. My parents had paid $11,000, and my soon-to-be wife's parents had paid $23,000. I double-checked about the time off 2 weeks before the wedding, and they said, "Oops, our bad. We can't do anything about it now. You can get married or you can keep your job." I'm still happily married. Imagine that.
I went into Taco John's and ordered a super burrito with no tomatoes or black olives to go. They weren't super busy, but there were a couple orders ahead of mine. So I'm standing near the counter watching them put items together, and I see that they have started on my burrito. The cook loads it up with everything and wraps it up. He has it in his right hand and reaches up with his left to clear out the monitor. He stops for a moment when he realizes he fucked up by putting everything on the burrito. He's facing me, and he turns around and fires a 100-mile-an-hour fastball burrito against the back wall. He walks into the back room, takes off his Taco John shirt, puts on a t-shirt, grabs his smoke and his drink, and heads out the back door. 30 seconds later, the girl running the drive-thru wants to know where Brian is. I pointed him out to her as by now he's walking across the parking lot towards downtown. I told her I think Brian gave his notice. She says a few choice words and wants to know what I ordered. Way to give it to the man, Brian.
It was the black olives that sent him over.
Yeah, well, black olives matter.
It should have been Kalamata olive.
I've seen my boss throw a pizza against the wall before. It was pretty fucking epic.
Greg must be scary when he gets angry.
A lot of people say that.
He's so quiet and calm usually, and he looks so nice.
He is so nice, and he is quiet and calm, and when he gets angry, it is scary.
Yeah.
But I'm his left-hand man, so I don't have anything to fucking worry about.
Why? Who's his right-hand man?
There is none. I just think left-hand man sounds funnier, so that's what I fucking say.
Okay.
It's me on both hands.
How are you at jerking off with your left hand?
I use my feet.
That's the stranger. I remember seeing this video online. The employee who quit with a marching band. When Joey Danfresco quit his job at the Renaissance Providence Hotel, he wasn't going to do it quietly. Instead, he walked into work with a full marching band behind him, blasting celebratory music as he handed his resignation letter. His boss, speechless. His coworkers, in awe. The internet, obsessed. That wasn't just quitting, it was a parade-worthy event.
I quit, but fuck you.
Have you guys seen that video?
No, but I want to.
Yeah, it was pretty viral. It's pretty funny. Yeah, the boss like, what the fuck you do? You can't be back here. And he's like, yeah, this is my resignation. All of a sudden, the fucking band just starts going like super loud, like right in the hallway. It's pretty funny.
That's pretty amazing.
I did read about it. I didn't see the video.
And the look on he was very satisfied. The kid quitting.
All right, Seamus, go ahead.
Courtney Keene, director of operations, said her friend worked IT for a company whose management was seriously out of touch and made impossible and even harmful requests. At one point, they had asked him to restrict network access to certain employees as an undisclosed disciplinary action. He asked if they'd cleared that with HR and if he could see the related paperwork, but they just told him it was a precautionary action. This wasn't the first time they'd pulled such a stunt, so he decided to do something about it. He complied, but restricted management's access instead, essentially limiting them to a timeout, playground with a notice that he'd changed the main network password and had given it to HR, where they could gladly explain why they were attempting to discipline employees without going through the proper channels. Obviously, he quit that day, or he would have been fired otherwise.
Beautiful. I was an executive chef, and I had an early sous chef in my 20s. Cool guy, dry humor type. He got into college in a different city, comes in and hands me a card on the front that reads, "I'm sorry for your loss." I open it, and inside is 2 words. It's me. I couldn't even be mad.
That's funny. I just was about to read that one.
Well, you didn't. I did, asshole.
I blew it. Every time you start these restaurant stories, I think you're talking about yourself. Like, I used to sell chicken. You did?
I did sell chicken. I currently do.
Mm-hmm.
He can relate to these stories, some of them.
It's true.
Yeah.
A classic case of say it out loud, say it proud. Instead of a formal letter, one employee grabbed a whiteboard marker, wrote, "I quit" in massive letters, and walked out without a word. Their boss and coworkers stood there, staring at the bold message, unsure whether to laugh, cry, or start updating their job postings.
I love whiteboards.
Yeah, me too. I use a whiteboard.
Now they're smart screens.
I still use a whiteboard.
Well, we don't have that at the restaurant. We just have a regular whiteboard.
Yeah, I got a whiteboard where I kept my strains, what people owed me, my gigs, and my podcast.
Greg, you got to stop revealing all this secret information to the fucking world.
What are they going to do? Fire me?
What if the FBI's onto this fucking podcast? You understand?
Statute of limitations.
Statute.
I know. I was being...
Many years ago, I worked at a burrito place. I only worked there for 4 days. I was washing dishes and the manager walked by and started yelling at me for using soap. He said, "Soap costs money and you're just putting the same food back in the pans anyways." I quit right there and walked out the door. It's disgusting.
Yes, that's right. That's why everyone that works at a restaurant should be Serve Safe certified, just like Ryan. 9-hour class. How long? A fucking
should have to do that.
9-hour class.
Now an hour seems excessive.
Well, there's a lot going on out in the world, bro. Okay,
4 hour.
Contaminants and hand washing. Yeah.
Well, I guess depends on what level you're at. You should have to I guess. I don't know. Maybe that is all necessary.
Yeah. And they just let dipshits do these jobs. So, let's be safe, people, huh? Oh, I guess it's my turn. I work in a customer service for a company that sets up catering orders. Organizations pay us, we pay the vendors, and the vendors handle the food. Most of the time, everything runs smoothly. Most of the time. Today wasn't one of those days. A customer called saying their catering order never arrived. I checked with the vendor. Sometimes the vendors have driver shortages, so they outsource. In this case, they told me the order had gone out through a delivery app. No problem. I figured I'd just get proof of delivery and sort it out. I reached out to the delivery app with the caterer. Instead of the standard delivery confirmation, they sent me a picture of the driver eating the food. Just sitting there, enjoying what was supposed to be the customer's meal like he'd ordered it himself. The vendor was hysterical. Let's just say they weren't happy, to say the least. When I asked the delivery app what was going to happen, they said the driver would likely be deactivated. As for why he took the food, his golden response, "I don't get paid enough, and this looked mad delish. Consider this my resignation.
Were they kept talking at the time?
This wasn't a small order either. It was worth several $100s.
Oh, man.
Damn.
But he recorded it?
Yes.
Or was it just a photo?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, man.
It's like they caught him at a stoplight, like the photo of a
Right.
stoplight. And he's like, just fucking mowing. This one is coming from New Hampshire.
Whoa, what?
I once worked for Favorite Foods for a half an hour. I started the job. I went in there and nobody was helping me, and I was supposed to use a pallet jack. Now, I wasn't trained how to use a pallet jack, so I pressed the button a couple times, looked around, and I called my sister to come pick me up because I didn't know what to do, and I just quit.
God.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is me.
Greg?
Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't ask somebody?
Nobody was there to ask. The whole
Dude,
place was empty. I was like,
favorite-
I couldn't find anybody.
My place is fucking huge too, man.
Yeah.
I like how you just admitted to not knowing how to use a pallet jack.
Oh, well, I'm a pallet jack master now. Like when I worked for Boston for 12 years, I was like, I would operate 2 pallet jacks at the same time, one with my foot and one with my right hand, because I'm the right hand man. And I can drive fucking forklifts, pallet jacks. Bro, I got it all now. But back then, I just walked out and I walked away.
All that weed you smoked made you smarter in the long run.
Yes.
I can't use a pallet jack or a forklift, but I can operate the suit from Aliens.
That was also there, and I was like, "Ugh, I don't know if I should get. I shouldn't step into Sigourney Weaver's shoes like this."
Unless you're into shoes.
Yes.
I do like some of those forklift videos where they're knocking over the racks and destroying everything, even though I feel bad for them. But
That one there where the guy's taking the pallet off the back of the truck and it like tips over and the pallet jack like fucking flings him like 15 feet. He like lands on his face. I don't know if you've
Wow.
seen that one.
I was
but
talking about
it's
just
brutal.
more products falling off the shelves, not people getting hurt.
This guy's falling off the shelf. Well, dude, if product's falling off the shelf, it's usually probably hurting
It
somebody.
can, yeah. It depends on who's in the warehouse, or could even crush the forklift driver.
Those videos are brutal though. I feel bad for those guys as well
absolutely.
too.
That guy
Especially when they knock the whole warehouse
all the bottles
down.
down. The one that worked in like a beverage distribution center, and like it's just liquid and broken glass everywhere.
And he didn't quit. He got fired.
Right.
I'd hope so.
I started dating a regular customer that one of my coworkers liked. She started doing things like spitting in his food, telling my boss I wasn't working, and writing her name on our checklist to make it seem like she did everything while I did nothing. Then she stole $100 from my drawer, and the boss wanted me to pay for it. She didn't believe me because she was friends with the girl. I walked out on the spot. A couple months later, they caught her stealing again on camera and fired her. Also, the guy is my husband now.
Aw. Never fuck the customers. I think that's a golden rule to live by.
It's a pretty good rule. I mean, obviously, there's extenuating circumstances, I think, but
When?
Don't shit where you eat.
some people just,
Just fall in love.
yeah, and then there's no harm, and they're not tainting the job or any relationships. But yes, it's good standard to follow.
I'm not going to stand in the way of love. I'm not Billy Zane.
That's right.
Be a different podcast if you were.
Ooh, Demon Night.
Call it Insane in the Membrane.
Hey.
My high school summer job was at McDonald's. One year they put me on a schedule and I was supposed to be at band camp 8 hours away. And I was like, no, I told you like 2 months ago I need the week off. And they were like, well, you have to come back and work, then go back to band camp. And I was like, okay. Then I quit and drove home. When I got home, there was a manager on the phone for me saying that we have a no quitting policy. I was like, okay, well, I quit. So the awkward silence. Then she hung up on me.
I love that. Like, oh, you can't quit. Oh, okay.
Well,
Well, I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow for sure.
I'd love a no quitting policy. You can leave whenever you want. I quit. It's only an hour in your shift.
That's why I should have worked in union. Isn't that like a no fire policy?
I don't know.
Union.
I'm not union material.
Have you guys seen that video when that dude calls up like a random place and he was like, hey, I just started working there. He's like, it's going to be like really nice. And like, I want to go fishing with the boys.
Love that video.
And and he's like, can I take a day off? And like, it turns out like she gives him his name and he's like working for her or whatever, even though he doesn't even work there at all. And she gets all butthurt about like, it's like, no, you can't take a day off, but he doesn't even work there.
Oh, that video is hilarious. I recommend anybody looking that up.
Yeah. It's just so funny.
I don't remember how to find it though. It was a guy calling out and wants to go fishing. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hilarious though, just because he's so good and she gets so
He's really
pissed.
good.
the worker who wore their resignation. One employee strolled into work with a custom t-shirt with the words "I quit" printed across the front. Imagine the slow realization on your boss's face, processing that this wasn't just casual Friday.
Right? I love to see that, like, how it slowly dawns on the boss what's really going on.
You guys have to wear uniforms or anything at your work?
I wear my GrowGen hoodie at work. We had to pay for Sullivan Tire hoodies ourselves, and I was like, I don't know about that. I kind of want one, but
it's really lax in my work environment. Like even even when my boss comes to the office, which isn't often, he's just in like jeans and a shirt. He don't care, and it's pretty lenient. Where would we want?
I gotta wear steel toes though. That sucks.
I mean, if I'm on a customer site, or if it's if I'm on a construction site, yeah, you have to wear the PPE if it goes with the territory. So
what's the PPE?
PPE, personal protective equipment. So like you go onto a site, if I'm just surveying the building for a design or a quote or something, you have to follow the rules and wear a hard hat. And sometimes they make it wear, steel toes or even glasses.
Seamus in a hard hat with a mustache.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. It's messing up my hair.
You got gray hair.
I don't wear a hard hat.
I have a no hard hat policy. I'm sorry.
Now, Seamus, have you considered wearing like an old-fashioned scuba helmet? That won't touch your hair.
Yes, I'm going to have to get one.
Not me, but my coworker. A guy at my current job came into the office happy as could be, cleaned out his desk, and mumbled about how all his problems had been solved because he'd come into some money. He then went on to ask a few coworkers if they had a Halloween costume he could borrow. It was around Halloween. Later that night, our CFO saw him on the news. He'd robbed a bank using our company's propane tank used for barbecue, some duct tape, and electronic parts he grabbed from the inventory department. He claimed it was a bomb. The cops picked him up from his AA meeting the next night.
That's great. I feel like that guy is squandering his skills. He's like a MacGyver. He could be making use of that brain.
Absolutely. They blew it. They weren't utilizing him to the best of his ability.
Right.
All right, Greg, do you have any more?
Yeah. Most flight attendants politely thank you for flying with them, or they just slide out the slide door. One decided to use the intercom to deliver a musical farewell. Instead of the usual safety announcements, they grabbed the mic, sang their resignation speech over the loudspeakers mid-flight, bidding passengers and their boss a dramatic goodbye. Imagine thinking you're about to hear an update on landing or seatbelts, but instead you get a soulful rendition of "I Quit," probably to the tune of "I Will Survive."
I can't imagine making a statement like that halfway through and having it be like awkwardly, you're like you're stuck on a plane, you can't even drop the plane, leave.
Right. You just you open the emergency door and fucking parachute out.
All right, Seamus, you got any more?
My daughter was born 2 weeks ago, and I said I couldn't work overtime anymore. My boss said he needed me to get my priorities straight, and if I couldn't be there when he needed me, he didn't want me. I stood up, shook his hand, and said, "I guess this is it then. Good luck," and walked out. I kept the rage inside, but it almost broke out when I received an email 20 minutes later about his shock and disappointment. He was disappointed that I chose spending time with my newborn over his business.
Hey, that business is his baby.
Hey. Well, that's the thing. People don't, your company doesn't care about you. They'll fire you for no fucking reason. That's why, obviously you want to be professional and give a 2-week notice and stuff, but sometimes they fuck you as well too. So it's just, it's a tricky situation.
My last employer was like, now I love my bosses, married couple. They're great. John and Linda, shout out. They have respect for me. They always tell me how appreciative they are. I didn't get any of that at my last place, but I wasted like some of my best years there. I was there for almost 10 years, and I wish I had done.
And that's the place that Sean's working.
Yes.
Yeah, that goes a long way when your boss lets you know. Like,
it gets a lot easier. He gets to work remotely because he's states, not even in the state. I had to go into the main office all the time and deal with shit. Then they put someone in charge of my department, the boss's daughter, who comes from marketing, doesn't know anything about what we do, and then we just started butting heads. So I was like, I'm out, and it was the best thing I ever did. I should have done it years ago.
Yeah, it's awesome that you're happy at your place. It's huge. It goes a long way to be happy at your work.
Yeah, my boss says I'm the only person he's ever met who's a company man and an HR nightmare. Yeah, but definitely shout outs to good bosses. Greg says, you got my heart, baby. I never met someone that believes in me more and, makes me want to show up to work every day. So
Yeah, my last boss tried. He was good to me, but he was just unorganized and really couldn't get out of his own way. These guys at Sullivan Tire have been great. Like I'm actually surprised how much I like this job. I knew I love driving and listening to music and podcasts and stuff, and I'm always out on the road, so it's pretty nice.
That's awesome, man.
When it's 100 degrees, it could be different, you know?
No AC in those trucks?
No, there's AC, but I mean, I'm gonna still be lumping fucking tires, like, 30 to 40 tires sometimes at a time.
What if you go pick up and they're just sitting under the sun? You better be wearing gloves, right? I'm sure you wear gloves.
Oh, yeah, I wear gloves. Yep. But that's the thing. Like, the worst part about that job is picking up junk tires.
Like the metal hanging out of them or all cracked?
No, junk tires are just shitty tires that are just sitting there on the side. There's nothing in them, but there is something in them. It's water. Stale, stagnant water. And you can't just pour fucking water out of tires the way they're shaped. So I gotta like throw these tires around the parking lot, get the water out of them, and I usually fucking soak myself.
Somebody needs to make a tool for that.
I was thinking about that.
Clips on the side of the tire with a little funnel.
Or what about like almost like
not a funnel, but
like an air pump, like a turkey baster, kind of like that you just like pull it. I'm gonna bring a super soaker with me.
Suppose you could bring a quick pump with you.
I show up at turkey basters, like, all right, tires, here I come.
You got a whole like bullet strap of turkey basters.
Comes over with a blanket,
They're all
blanket and a turkey baster. I don't know what he's doing to that tire.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turkey baste the water out, and then I'm going to absorb it with the blanket.
Yeah, there you go.
But I just wish people would take their junk tires and put them somewhere where they're not going to be sitting in the snow, sitting in the rain, you know?
That's never going to happen.
This is Greg's PSA, everybody.
Yeah. And this one dude was like, hey, do you take these junk tires? And dude, these tires were like up to my chest. They were like commercial truck tires. And the guy, and I called the shop, and he's like, no, he's like, if they're commercial truck tires, he's like, we don't take them. I was like, I'm pretty sure they are, because these are the biggest tires I've ever seen in my life.
All right, I got one more, guys. I worked at a Subway when I was in high school. No one ever told me what was going on. I read the schedule one week, and it said I was working 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. I worked the first 2 days, and everything was normal. I go in Friday, and there I was with my Subway shirt on, and a bulldozer just leveled the entire strip mall where I worked. I turn around, they're putting up a sign that says they're building a Lowe's there. Never heard anything from anyone about the store being demolished. Never saw any of those people ever again.
Well, I hope you get your paycheck for those 2
Is that
days.
quitting or is that fired?
I don't know. But
That's bulldozed.
thought it was funny.
That is messed up to show up. Your fucking place of work is demolished.
Should we tell him? No, he'll figure it
I'd
out.
be like, yes, get in my car and go back to bed.
I know. How else would that be? Like, I don't feel like being. Oh, fuck, man. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I wish like a hurricane would just blow this building away.
All right. The summer after my first year of college, I worked at a call center doing cold call sales. I don't know what that is. I assume that's things calling back, like things that got cool, like following up.
No, it's just almost like a telemarketer kind of.
Anyway.
You're just calling random people trying to sell shit.
One of my coworkers ripped off his headset one day, screamed, "I quit. This place sucks," and stalked out. He got in his ancient Nissan mini truck, put it in gear, and attempted to drive over the landscaping between his parking spot and the driveway. He bottomed out trying to drive over a bush, got stuck, and ended up having to come back in and ask for help pushing his car up the landscaping. His face was a particularly remarkable shade of vermilion.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah. And I got a few more quick ones. I don't know if you guys have any more.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, go ahead.
David Walter remembers a particularly justified ending to an old job. Back in my apprenticeship days, I'd been working at a company for only 3 months, and a lot of my food and drink had gone missing from the fridge. Basically, the company was toxic anyway, and this was the icing on the cake. Stolen cake sometimes, he said. Finally, a large lasagna made for people in the office was stolen. Fuming that even something meant to be shared was taken, he stormed into his boss's office to say something about more needed to be done about this ASAP. And there it was, on his desk in all its glory, my half-eaten lasagna. I quit then and there. When I was a supervisor at a well-known retailer, an employee in the garden center was reprimanded for something or other. He became so incensed that he went to the corner of the garden area, dropped his drawers, and pooped on a pallet. Then he quit. I quit a telemarketer job when I found out the cancer patients we raised money for got 10% of what we made. The company kept the rest. I said, no, fuck that. I'm out. I was 18 and my heart couldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I was a night manager at a restaurant and got moved to a different location after their manager quit. On my second day there, we were robbed at gunpoint. Police did their thing, which involved filling out a report. The district manager showed up about 10 minutes after I arrived the next day and told me that the stolen money would be taken from my paycheck next 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
That's illegal.
I threw the papers he handed me into the fryers and walked away. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably didn't have to pay that money. I mean, I know he did. How could he? One, he's new to the area. How could he be getting robbed? How's that his fault? But anyway, I got asked to repackage food and take out moldy products. I refused and was threatened with being let go. I quit and reported the store immediately afterwards. Imagine that. They'll just pick the moldy parts out and repackage it.
Ugh. Yeah, so when I was working for a grower, and powdery mildew is a thing that you get with too much moisture, and it's fucking gross. And it almost looks like white, like trichomes in a way. Like, so it almost looks like it belongs in the bud. Right. But sometimes it does not. And if you have powdery mildew, you want to fucking you have to cut down your whole crop. But growers are greedy. That's like a $10,000 thing they don't want to fucking lose. So I once worked for this guy who had me cut out the powdery mildew. He's like, just cut around the powdery mildew. I was like, cool, man. I'm never smoking your weed.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot of that goes on. People don't even know, and people wouldn't even care either.
100%. That's why people are always like, oh, I remember my friend used to always be like, oh, don't worry, I got it from a dispensary. I'm like, that doesn't make me feel any better. Right. That you got it from a dispensary.
From private growers anyways, don't they? Most of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. But like a lot of the times, these dispensaries get good deals on this pot because it's diseased somehow,
Yeah, that's gross.
And they'll cut around or they just want to sell it, especially mold or powdery mildew. They're fucking weasels.
Yeah, I think about what we used to smoke back in the day, though. Come on now.
Oh, my God.
I would have killed for powdery mildew back in 95.
Who the hell even knows what was in that shit?
Oh, dude, we were smoking probably the nastiest pesticides. People, you're supposed to wash your weed. And by that, you just give it water the last couple weeks so it's growing. So you kind of wash out the nutrients and then flush it out. And some people don't do that as well, too. Yeah. So so it kind of gets out of the root system. But a lot of people don't do that either. So there's just that's why I don't trust most people with weed. If I'm at a show and someone's like, hey, you want to smoke this? I'm usually like, no, I don't. If I don't know where it's coming from, I don't want to smoke it.
You a
bitch. We want to hear from everybody. I want to hear from somebody that never washes their fruit and they're they're older in age, and I want us to know how their health is.
You're supposed to wash that shit?
I would say I don't always wash my fruit.
I only rinse my banana.
You're just a weed snob. You don't care about what you eat on your fruit.
No, I do. I just never really think of. I guess I've washed my strawberries.
You wash every fruit, Greg.
Actually, I wash my blueberries. That's right. I do wash my blueberries.
You're washing every.
I don't wash my bananas.
I don't wash my bananas.
Bananas are different.
Yeah, bananas have a suit of armor on top already.
Like a pineapple. You don't.
Orange. Yeah, anything with armor.
Although I'd argue, because remember the melon scares some years back when people were dying? So you got to wash that rind sometimes.
See, this is why I don't.
What about apples?
Why I don't eat melon.
I always wash my apples. Of course.
Well, I know, but
those
apples
are
have
sprayed in shit to make them last forever too.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't wash your apples, Greg?
Remember I told you the average apple is over a year old?
I do wash my apples.
You don't wash your apples.
I don't eat apples.
Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried a Honey Crisp?
I love apples. I'm more of a Granny Smith kind of guy.
I used to be too, but they're too hard.
They are, and they're definitely really sour as well.
I
too.
like that. I love Granny Smiths, but again, they're hard.
No, I love all apples, and I love fruit. Yeah, I've tried Honey Crisp. I eat apples. I was joking. I just don't regularly eat apples. They're hard on my teeth, and I'm a banana, blueberry, strawberry guy, and I love pineapple and watermelon as well.
Bananas. We were just talking about this the other day. He's like, my nephew he says they just won't eat bananas. I'm like, good, they're gross. I'm like, I won't eat. I eat a banana almost every day, but I like throwing a protein shake where I don't have to taste it. I only do that because I'm told they're good for you.
They don't have that much of a taste to them. I don't think they're not that bad.
I just don't like it.
I do need to find them in the perfect ripeness though. I hate it when they're obviously if they're not ripe enough and it's green. Well, it's disgusting to bite into.
That's why you buy it the day you buy it when it's green and then you eat it the next day.
Right.
It takes more than a couple days.
No, it doesn't, Greg. No, it doesn't. Nobody buys more bananas on this podcast than me. I guarantee it.
I have to buy bananas at least twice a week because I need them to be in that perfect stage to go forward. So I like to time them, like you said, they're good for a couple days, and then I need a new bundle.
I like it when they get a little bit of brown on them.
Welcome to Fruit Talk with Ryan, Greg, and Seamus. Today on Fruit Talk, when is the perfect time to buy a banana?
Yeah, I like
and do you wash your fruit
when it's completely yellow, no green, and no brown, and nice? But again, I don't like bananas, so don't listen to me.
So don't, put in your 2 weeks notice, guys. Don't quit your jobs unless you have to. Also, quit your jobs if your boss is an asshole. Buy fruit at the perfect time. Wash all your fruit. Greg doesn't like apples.
I do like apples. Michelle was eating some apples the other day, and I had 2 pieces of it.
Eat your apples and wash your fruits.
And your balls.
Always.
Always wash your balls. All right, well, we want to thank everybody for listening. You've all been a beautiful, beautiful audience.
We rep the You Run podcast. Check us out on yourunpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and X. Give us a listen. If you want to check us out on Patreon for just as low as $1 a month, you get your episodes up to a week early. And we have a lot of cool episodes coming out, and we appreciate you listening.
Serving up a lot of hot takes, one crust at a time.
Wash your crust.
Dip your crust in various dressings.
Life's too short to skip the crust.
Hey.
Stuff that crust.
From flaky to chewy, we cover it all. Every bite tells a story.
And remember, everybody.
In crust.
We trust.
Thanks,
I fucking quit.
Bye.
Calling it dead.
Ends our podcast.
I quit. Fuck you.
I do wash my apples.
Go wash your apples.
I don't eat apples.